So, if remote viewing and scrying are real, right, which I believe them to be, right, via quantum mechanics and Earth's magnetic field interacting with the brain and being there, and someone I, a recent paper I saw talked about a lightning strike somewhere away affecting people in their brain, and like the planets, like the moon, affects people's brain and stuff like that, right? Which is interesting. I guess the moon has less to do with it than the electromagnetic shit, but so I want to make an initiation into deeper occult gnosis, personal darkness, and hope for humanity, and into the creative spark of madness, divine madness, right? It will give you an interesting perspective, right? So I wanted to build a research station on the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Not only one, a side objective is um, a place like a humanity bunker, right? That could survive an extinction event. Which I don't know if we actually need that. I don't know if our nuclear bunkers are fine or not. Whatever. But that's just a proposed idea for a separate use, and as well as you could study like stuff at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, like plate tectonics and animals and stuff. But I'm more wanting to use it as a consciousness experiment, right? Um, and a physics experiment, as well as a remote viewing experiment. Which I'm also curious if people here doing all these things, if they can still kind of see what's going on in the world, that you could test that, right? Which um, based on the CIA declassified documents they had where they tested remote viewing, they seriously considered it, which I think for good reason. um, I'm also so specifically what we do is we take them down there, right, which is an experience in itself, and then we have this very highly liminal structure down here, right? So it is made to mess with your perceptions, right, and not really mess with, but to alter them in a way to expand your mind, right? There'd be a lot of symbolic stuff, and the way the structure would be set up. So reality houses are designed to break people. It'd be kind of like not the opposite of that. It's designed specifically so that they can open their mind, right? Very sacred stuff. Different temples that represent different things in there, right? Like small like shrines, and um, like a dojo represents like the warrior thing, and they can train down there and get that. And this would be for, great scientific minds and um, like trained operatives, I suppose. That would be the people here for specific training, and then they'd be under an intense amount of hallucinogenic drugs. Not too much. We're not overdoing. We're not trying to give anybody serotonin syndrome, but under there, as well as with using metamorphic fields and my machine that I'm kind of still inventing to alter the structure of their nervous system and their brain, right? Um, and use this with a language as well. We'd have to learn. I was talking about a language, like a highly optimized version of Sanskrit that will make people smarter, right? And then we use this to interconnect their brain and such, and we get many debates and right, and a lot of learning and a lot of inquiries into things, right? And I wonder how far we could push the envelope, as well as I wanted for the, the darker rituals, such as cannibalizing somebody to accept, like as for science reasons and donated to science, um, as an exception of darkness within the self, a deep shadow integration, right? That I don't think you can get otherwise. Um, like the Agori do. I don't want to do it like the Agori do, but you know what I mean. So I also am curious if my machine, if doing this to somebody would make them actually better at remote viewing. That is my question as well that I have. I want to create a very manufactured smell that people can keep on them, kind of like how the berserkers would go do their rituals and become like a man possessed, have a smell because the olfactory system is very strong and smells, right? So I read that in a book, The Tainted Cup. So we take this aromatic and we get them while they're tripping. They're smelling this aromatic while they're regular. They're smelling this aromatic down there all the time, right? And this aromatic that way, whenever they're back in the real world, right, they can do this and kind of go fucking wild with shit. A good thing we could do is if we can definitely get them to ritualize that, and we have like sparring sessions, right? I mean, not necessarily full on fights, but that'd actually be bad. I'm not trying to, you know, things like that make someone go be able to control that, like they carry a vial, just like they did in the Tainted Cup. They carry that and they go, oh, you know. Um, I want to see, especially if they're locked down there studying and arguing over science and philosophy and um, writing treaties on things and trying to come up with very original ideas. Um, I'm not sure if I said as well as to get the spirit of the deep, eating deep sea animals. For, to on a physical level, you're absorbing their energy, which you can say is woo nonsense. On a medical level, you're indoctrinating your stomach with the bacteria from these animals, right? It'd be good if you can do like some kind of cleanse, like we take antibiotics and then we eat these animals and we take probiotics so that new biotic things, we fast or whatever. We'd be doing a lot of fast, a lot of spiritual stuff down there, and a lot of very culty practices, which would be highly designed and very symbolic, and making a lot of art and music and stuff like that down there. Um, I want to see what we could produce out of that if you take the best minds and do that, as well as the most strongestly willed minds, because that it's very intense. It's very, very intense. Anyway, peace.